Greetings gastronauts, this is Keith Cooks, I'm Keith, and today I'm going to show you how to make a traditional English delicacy, crumpets. So I'm doing this for Wonder fan Dan Bob, who has requested it. A little bit of crumpet for you, Dan Bob. And if you don't know what a crumpet is, well, make some, find out. It's like a thick pancake, I suppose, and it's characterised by lots of little holes in the top for the butter to sink into. So there's two things that I know of that have that kind of characteristic. One is the Staffordshire oatcake and the other is the Ethiopian bread injera. But they're not really similar, and neither of those are anything like as thick as a crumpet. And a crumpet isn't a muffin either. It's just something else completely different, and it's wonderful. And to people of a certain age, mine, if you go around asking people if they fancy a bit of crumpet, they'll either slap you in the face or they will giggle, because it's a euphemism for, do you fancy a bit of how's your father? Anyway, they're delicious, they're not easy to make, but well worth the effort, so let's do it. Okay, ingredients for the crumpets. I've got 150 grams of strong white bread flour, 100 grams of plain all-purpose flour, 100 ml of warm water, 200 ml of milk, and a teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of sugar, and a sachet of active dried yeast. That's about a 7-gram sachet. Later on, you will need half a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda dissolved in about a tablespoon of water. So to get started, we'll chuck all the dry ingredients in the bowl. Give them a stir, and then we'll add the water and the milk, most of the milk. Stir that together, pop the rest of the milk in there. So even though these are like bread ingredients, we're not actually trying to make a bread dough as such. What we want to happen is for this to go frothy and bubbly. So we just leave that on one side for an hour or two till it's gone frothy and bubbly, and then we'll make crumpets. Okay, I think we could describe that as frothy. So what I'm going to do now is dissolve half a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda in about a tablespoon of warm water, and then we'll add that to the batter. Now you need to leave that to rest for about 15 to 30 minutes. Now you're going to need some rings to cook your crumpets in. So I've got these and these and that. So these are 8 centimetre 3-inch diameter. These are 10 centimetre 4-inch diameter. The ideal size is halfway between the two, but I don't have any of those. And if you don't have any rings at all, what you can do is improvise by cutting the top and bottom off a can that size, a tuna can or salmon, but be careful with the sharp edges. Okay, so I'm not doing those because I've done them before and they're too big. So I'll just use these smaller ones. And you need to butter the insides to stop your batter from sticking. So now it's time to cook the crumpets, and I've got a layer of rapeseed oil in the pan on medium-low heat. So I don't use butter for this because it will burn. And I won't lie to you, it is quite tricky cooking crumpets. You'll need to, if you haven't done it before, you just do one as a practice, is my advice, because it's like pancakes. The first one's always rubbish, and you need to get used to how your pan behaves and how your heat source behaves. And the trick is to get the bottom nicely golden brown and the top cooked without burning the bottom, and that is not an easy thing really. So put your rings in there, and then we'll put some of the batter in each one. Whoa, look at that, that's well foamy. Not too much. Don't be tempted to overfill them, because that'll make your crumpet too thick and it won't stand a chance of getting cooked. So not more than half full in the rings really. And just leave that alone basically. You'll see bubbles start to form on the top, which is lovely, and hopefully you won't see smoke coming out the bottom. And to finish them off, you'll want your grill or your broiler heated up. Okay, so after maybe 5-10 minutes, it's beginning to set on the top, and we've got quite a number of holes that have risen. There's a few more coming here in the unset bit, and once those have popped through, that'll be half ready. And when they're half ready, you can keep them in the fridge for a few days. When you're ready to eat them, you just pop them under a hot grill or broiler to just lightly toast the top. So let them cool down a little bit so I can handle them with a cloth. And what we're trying to do is get them out of the rings. More butter next time, I think. There we go. That one's a bit thin. Anyway, we'll stick these under the grill till they are golden. Okay, they're a bit flatter than the ideal, but nice, got nice holes in and a bit of squidginess. And let's have a bit of a taste. Oh yeah, that's a crumpet. Marvellous. So you serve that with obviously tons and tons of butter, don't be squeamish. Dollop of jam if you like, or a dollop of, well, a thin scraping of Marmite. English crumpets, can't beat them. And that's that. I hope you enjoyed it. Now you can get the full recipe on my website, keithcooks.com, and there should be a link kicking around on the screen over there or down there. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel. Link. And talk to me, leave comments, make requests, keep it civil and friendly or I will ban you. And thanks for watching, and see you next time. So I've let them cool down a little bit so I can, ouch. Bugger. English crusted, English mustards, English crumpets, can't beat them, can't say it either.